Most people think manifesting is free. They think a shift in perspective is a simple choice. But true inner alchemy isn't a gift, it's a purchase. And today, we're going to talk about the energetic currency you need to stop wishing and start building. Something I think is seldom, if ever, discussed. There is a glittering promise that draws seekers into the world of manifesting, the law of attraction, and conscious creation. The idea that by directing your thoughts and focusing your attention, you can reshape your life. Wealth, health, vibrant relationships are all the result of inner action. For an inner alchemist, this belief is an energetic fact. It is the actual mechanism by which you create your world. Reality is not a fixed thing. It isn't cold stone. The external world is a reflection of inner structure. But there is a part of this conversation that is often softened or quietly ignored. This work is not effortless. It's not the toil of a bricklayer. It won't callous your hands or curve your spine, but it demands a toll paid in raw biological and spiritual energy. We are talking about a sustained, quiet, burning discipline called unrelenting intent. To change your life, you must be prepared to pay the metabolic price. You are moving from a passive observer to an active architect, and that upgrade requires power. To claim power over your internal reality, you have to master the tools of the trade. One potent weapon in the inner alchemist's arsenal is the swoosh pattern, which I covered in our last video. Think of this technique as a mental sleight of hand that breaks the gravity of old, stagnant loops. I can describe it briefly by saying that it starts with a somatic ping. You become a tracker of your own discomfort. The moment a negative thought enters your field, it leaves a footprint, a tightening in your solar plexus or a chill in your breath, a negative emotion. You don't fight it, you dismantle it. In your mind's eye, you shrink the image, drain its color, and push it away until it's a tiny, flickering dot on the horizon. Then comes the high-definition replacement. In that vacuum, you flash your desired reality. This has to be hypervivid, bright, panoramic, pulsating with life. This is the emotional ignition. You reach deep into your reservoir and pull a surge of gratitude or triumph into the now. You are essentially teaching your nervous system that the future has already arrived. Is it simple? Yes. Is it easy? No. And this is what many gloss over in presenting this information. Your mind is a muscle. If it spent years not consciously focusing on thoughts, but just allowing whatever thought to enter it in a directionless way, then holding a high-definition vision for an hour is the cognitive equivalent of holding a 50-pound weight at arm's length. It takes strength, power, metabolic energy. And it is that hidden cost that we are here to uncover. Your brain is a biological paradox. It's only 2% of your mass, but it's an energy vampire, devouring 20% of your daily calories. Usually, it hums at about 20 watts, like a dim LED. But when you move into active inner alchemy, that demand shifts to a roar. Your brain isn't just thinking, it's constructing. It activates the prefrontal cortex to lead, the visual cortex to paint, and the limbic system to provide the emotional charge. If an idle mind burns 72,000 joules an hour, master-level inner alchemy work, unbroken, intense redirection, can spike that toward 150,000 joules. At that point, you are basically an athlete of consciousness. You are fighting the brain's preference for cheap habits and forcing it to pave new, unfamiliar pathways. This is the biological foundation of neuroplasticity. The render time for your new reality has a cost, and the brain charges you for every pixel. If you are going to perform the work of a god, you cannot feed the vessel like a couch potato. Your focus will shatter if your blood sugar is a roller coaster. For starters, you need complex carbs, oats, quinoa, rice, the steady coals of your inner furnace. Your neurons are insulated by fat. To speed up thought transmission, you need omega-3s. For the inner alchemist, algae-based DHA, chia seeds, and walnuts are vital for maintaining the wiring of your new reality. You also need the building blocks of neurotransmitters. Amino acids from meat, or if you are a vegetarian, from tempeh, lentils, and spirulina, to name a few sources. And then there is the breath. This is vital. Deep, rhythmic breathing isn't just a cooling system for your internal CPU. It is your primary energy supplier. There is energy in the air all around you, and by breathing properly, slowly through the nose, expanding the abdomen, you absorb that energy. You signal to your body that this high-voltage state is safe, allowing you to stay online much longer. The first mile is always the hardest. When you start this work, you're engaging in a biological revolution. Your current reality is supported by a massive infrastructure of automated neural pathways. They are like deep grooves in a record. Your consciousness wants to fall into them because it's cheap energy-wise. In physics, this is static friction. In the brain, it feels like fog, boredom, or a sudden urge to check your phone. This is just your brain's energy conservation protocol trying to trick you into returning to the old ways. Look at the effort-to-effect ratio. When you spend an hour in deep, focused creation, you are moving mountains of internal resistance. 1 heartbeat is 1 joule. 1 hour of intense inner change meditation is 250,000 joules. You are a blacksmith, and the heat required to melt your old reality can be intense. Your vessel must be sturdy enough not to crack under that pressure. Because this work is so metabolically demanding, recovery is as sacred as the effort. After a session of intense focus, sit in 0-point silence. No phone, no talking. Let the energetic dust settle. This is where synaptic tagging happens, where your brain physically reinforces the new pathways you just fired. Replenish your electrolytes. Your brain operates on the movement of ions. A glass of water with lime and sea salt provides the electrical conductivity you need to keep your mental imagery from short-circuiting. Ultimately, we are tuning a bioelectric radio. Most people live in a state of mental scattering, a weak, diffuse light. But sustained redirection turns that light into a laser. When you enter a gamma state, you reach the frequency of the miracle. To stay there, you must treat your nervous system like a delicate, high-performance instrument. I want to be honest here, so I must tell you that. In a sense, you never actually escape work. You simply relocate it from the muscle to the mind. But this work of inner alchemy is good work. It is the only work worthy of us, because it is our real power. It is our real way. We are indeed magical beings. So, through inner alchemy, you are moving the labor from the visible to the invisible. Instead of straining your back, you are straining your attention. Instead of training your biceps, you are training your prefrontal cortex. The reward, however, is far greater. Unlike physical labor, which eventually wears the body down, inner alchemy generates a virtuous cycle. As you become more proficient, the very act of choosing better thoughts produces a hit of dopamine and endorphins. Eventually, the practice stops costing you energy and starts providing it. You aren't just changing your bank account or your relationship status. You are upgrading the hardware of your soul. You are becoming an entity that is no longer a food source for the archon, the parasitic structure that feeds on scattered energy. You are becoming a closed loop of power. The physical perspective, the joules, the glucose, the cortex, is the bridge. It's the ladder we use to climb into the light of conscious command. But there is so much more. And in time, we may find that even this ladder is just a step on a rung that leads to further power and skill. So, when you are ready, for those who seek to master the gaps between the physical and the greater realms, I recommend the book, Overcoming the Archon Through Alchemy. There, the techniques of energy acquisition and redirection are expanded into a full system of liberation, turning the athlete of consciousness into a true master of reality. There is power in you, and it starts to become available to you the moment you have the courage to focus. Burn the fuel. Sit in the heat of the forge. The burn you feel is the sound of a new world being born. It's time to take the lead.